This weekend, former President Trump lashed out at prosecutors who appear to have him in their sights in multiple ongoing criminal and civil investigations. He told his supporters that he wants them in the streets in D.C. and in Georgia and New York if these prosecutors act against Trump. Well, today we have some new reporting from the Washington Post that provides another window into why an investigation like the one being carried out by the New York Attorney General, Letitia James, might be so concerning to the former president that he's calling for people to take to the streets in case the investigators act. The Post reports that the New York AG's investigation has subpoenaed records about the Trump Hotel in D.C. That's a property that the Trump Organization leases from the federal government. It's a federally owned property. Letitia James's investigation is reportedly looking into whether Trump got the lease on that property through fraud, whether the Trump Organization lied about its assets in order to obtain the lease for the property and the loans they used to pay for it. We know from documents that were filed by Attorney General James last month that it was Trump's adult daughter, Ivanka Trump, who, according to the Attorney General, negotiated the lease for that hotel with the federal government and negotiated a loan from Deutsche Bank to pay for it. Tish James is arguing that the means by which the Trump Organization described their own financial condition in order to get the lease and the loan were both fraudulent. Here's one example. As part of their statement of their assets to try to get the lease and the loan, the Trumps listed the value of apartments that they owned, including one that Ivanka was renting personally at the time. Under her rental agreement, she apparently had the option to buy that apartment if she wanted to for the cost of $8.5 million. But in the forms that were submitted to get the loan for the D.C. hotel, that very same apartment was listed as being worth more than $20 million. Then a few years later, they listed it as being worth $25 million, even though they knew there was an option to buy it for just $8.5 million. Attorney General James is looking into exactly that type of potentially illegal inflation of the Trump family and Trump Organization's financial situation for a whole bunch of Trump properties. Thanks to the Washington Post, we now know that the Attorney General's investigation has subpoenaed the federal government about Trump's deal for that property in D.C. as well. So, yeah, I mean, if I were the former president, I don't know that I'd be calling for my supporters to riot if I was indicted in this investigation, but I might be concerned. We'll be right back.